If you're a fellow dev, you know how frustrating it is when you shoot another player dead on and this player lives to tell the story. And I guess a majority of people watching this video agrees with me that implementing things like lag compensation to prevent that is very, very hard. But not anymore, because today I'm gonna teach you guys how to implement lag compensation, AAA server-side rewind, the easiest way possible. We're gonna do it with this plugin, Scana Server-Side Rewind. It's a lag compensation plugin. It's on Fab, so if you wanna get it, the link is in the description of this video. Okay, but let me tell you what this plugin actually does. Here, for example, we have a server and client view. If you have a high ping, position of characters, for example, are going to be different on server and client. You can see here my client is at that position and the server is further ahead, is not at that position. So what happens if you perform, let's say, a line trace and try to hit this character on the client? You're not going to hit, because on the server this line trace hits nothing. Now what the plugin does is, whenever you try to hit a character, let's say you do a line trace and try to hit a character on the client, server is gonna pick up all information about the character, like hitbox positions, the time you try to shoot, and it's gonna rewind all those hitboxes to that location and time you tried to shoot with your client. Server then is going to perform your exact line trace and confirm the hit. And that way it doesn't matter if the character moved further away, like on the server, because hit's going to be validated because of the rewind that happens here. And this is why it's called server-side rewind. Okay, but how do we implement this plugin? First of all, the plugin is going to come with two components. That's going to be rewind clock and server-side rewind. So server-side rewind should be on your character. Like here, for example, in my shooter character, let's go up a little bit, in my shooter character, okay? So to add it, I have it already added here. I'm just going to do add and rewind, server-side rewind, you know? So I already have one here. So let's go to the config real quick here. Max record time is the amount of time that the server is going to keep track of those hitbox data. Remember that I just showed you that the server rewinds the hitboxes, so it must save the positions. So max record time is the time is going to save the positions. 4 seconds is more than enough. Auto record is going to, auto record. Auto disable by ping is something that if you have, for example, my max compensation is too high right now, but we try to keep it at 150. That means up to 150 milliseconds ping, server-side rewind is going to work. Past that is not going to work. If you have 200 ms of ping, it's not going to work. The plugin is just going to shut off, because you don't have server-side rewind for too long, because you don't want a character getting hit, running like halfway across the map and then dying, so that's why we keep it at a lower value. Here I'm gonna keep this 2000 just for the sake of this tutorial, because I'm gonna simulate lag hard. I'm gonna do like a 500 ms ping simulation, so we can test the plugin. Target interpolation is something that, if you go to the tip here, to the tooltip, is just an extra rewind time to account for smoothing of the character. So you can start at 0, and if you see like the rewind boxes still lead the target slightly, you can put 0.1. You can play with this value, but it's fine to leave it at 0 for this matter. So auto build from physics assets, keep that on, because if you keep that on, the plugin will create the hitboxes for you based on your character's physics assets. So your physics assets have to be right, okay? So track bones, if you wanna subtract just few bones, you can just add the bones here, the bone names, okay? If you don't, if you leave it at 0, it's gonna create hitboxes for all bones. Sometimes that's not ideal, but let's keep it at like that for the sake of this tutorial. And the head bone so you can account for headshots, so you can see if you know it was a shot in the head. Just pass in your head bone here. Default box extent, you don't need to mess with that once you have auto build from physics assets. And here we have the hitbox object type. You can leave it at word dynamic. We're going to leave it at that. And the line of sight channel, I'm going to explain where we're going to use it. We can set to visibility. For the sake of this tutorial, you can create custom object types or a custom channel if you want. And let's leave draw debugs on so you can see what's happening. So, okay, first thing we already did, which was put in the server-side rewind here inside of our character, okay? So the next thing is to go to our player controller and put the rewind clock there, okay? So you're just gonna go here, rewind clock, you're gonna choose, is gonna, you know, input this rewind clock right here. And here on player controller, the only thing you're going to do is you're going to create a function called get server time. This is just a function to a helper function, okay? You can create a function by clicking this button, and the function is going to be like that. It's going to be really, really simple. Okay, to create this return node, you can just type return at return node, and to get this node you can drag this rewind clock here and get server time. Then you can just drag, I already have my time variable here, but if you don't, you can just drag it here. It's going to create a new value, okay? But we don't need that. That's a very simple function. We can leave it like that, just so we can get the server time. At the moment the client shoots, we need to get time synced with the server, okay? Of course, because this is a network plugin. So right here, what do I have here in my character? I have a simple perform trace. I have code ready for projectile and grenade that I'm going to show you guys later, but let's start with the simple trace. This function only performs a trace. It's very simple. It performs a trace from the actor location to the center of the screen, okay? So this function returns my trace start, my trace end, and the impact point and hit actor, the actor that was hit by this line trace, okay? So if I play the game right now, you can see that all this does is a simple trace, okay? So let's go. What do we need now in order for our plugin, our server-side rewind plugin to work? Well, that's very, very easy. We're going to need a server RPC because right now we're performing this trace on the client. So we need to pass all this data to the server. How we do that? With a server RPC. So let's create a new server RPC here down below. So we're going to do custom event. We're going to call it server hit scan fire. Okay, we're gonna go here, replicates, and set it to run on server, make marker reliable. So it's gonna always trigger, okay? Now we need the rewind line trace node from our plugin. We don't need that component. I'm gonna show you how to get the right component. And we're gonna wire this up. So we have a few things that we need to connect here, okay? We need shooter, that's as I'm shooting from this character, shooter here in my case is self. In your case, please be careful with that because you might not be shooting from your character, it might be shooting from a component. So pass in your shooter here, okay? Then we need to pass trace start. That's gonna go, we're gonna drag it out and put it here on the server trace end as well, hit time as well, and we're going to click here on our server RPC and create a new input argument. That's going to be a actor, and the name is going to be hit actor. Okay, so okay, now we have our server RPC. That's pretty simple. We can call the server RPC from here. So it's server hit scan fire. Okay, so we have our trace start, we can connect here, our trace end, we have our hit actor. We're not going to use impact point right now, okay? We're going to leave it at like that. So there's things to fill in, which is hit time. Then remember that we did our hit time, we made this function here on the player controller. So we can just get player controller. We can cast to BP shooter player controller, which is my controller. You can cast to yours. We can even go to pure cast because I know this is going to be the right controller. And we can call this function get server time. So get server time. And this is going to get the server time, okay? So the time the client shot but synced with the server. This is what this function does, okay? So, okay, we have it right now. What we need right now is to go again to our server RPC because we need to complete it. We need a target, and this is a server-side rewind object reference. Not this one, but the hit actors one, okay? So you can, like in my case, I can cast for my BP shooter character. I'm doing it very simple, just so you guys can understand. And I can do this like a pure cast because I know it's going to be a shooter character. In your game, you should do it according to, you know, what your game or what your character is. And from the shooter character, we can get the rewind component. So this is going to be the component of the actor you hit. Okay, this is what we want. We want to rewind line trace for this actor, the hit actor. Okay, now we got everything ready. The only thing we need to do is this return value. This will return a rewind result structure that we can just drag out and break rewind result. Here we have a few things. Hit, if it was a hit, if it was a hit shot, the hit bone, name, the hit location, the origin, in case it is a radio rewind. I'm going to show you guys in a bit. This is from origin. The case it was in the case it was a sphere trace, and we have the hit actor. We're just going to grab the hit. Okay, if it was a hit, we can confirm here now. So if after the rewind we get a hit, let's print a string for now. Hit. So let's go here and set packet lag 500. So this is gonna get very, very laggy. You can see the client even takes a while to load up. Okay, now you can see that the client and server versions, there's a massive delay between them. So let's wait for the character to get here. We're gonna shoot, and you see on the server the hitbox is on the right place. Again, here I shoot, I missed the character. Let's wait. Okay, I shoot, and the hitboxes appear right on the spot I shot it. And you can see it prints also the string on my server for hit every time I hit. And every time I hit, it rewinds and gets the right position according to where I hit in my client. Okay? So yeah, the plugin is working. As you can see, the server-side rewind is already working. So what you would do, of course, you would have to do this in your own code, but here you can even apply damage. So you would do whatever you're doing in your game after this node right here, okay? applying damage and doing multicast for VFX. I don't know, like whatever you need to do. Okay, just keep in mind that the only thing, like for hit scans, server hit scan fire should come right after your hit scan, where you perform your hit scan. Okay, so let's go for other possibilities like a projectile shot. For example, let me just remove this right here so we can see that right now I'm shooting projectiles. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit different for projectiles. Let's go here, event. So here I have a simple projectile shooting mechanic. Okay, it is going to perform a trace to grab an impact point, and it's going to spawn an actor with actor location as a spawn transform, and we find the look at rotation to look at our impact point, and the projectile is going to fly straight to where the trace hit. But now we need server-side rewind to trigger only when projectile hits. So what I did here was create an event for that. Okay, so we only trigger the server RPC when projectile hits. So in my case, you need to see that how that is in your case. But in my case, if I come here to my projectile, I have created a event dispatcher on projectile hit. I have this event on projectile hit. After this event, I know that my projectile has hit. Okay, so I need this. Let me do that again so you guys can see how I did it. So you're gonna go to event dispatchers. You're gonna click plus on projectile hit, and you got your event dispatcher. So right here on under inputs, you're gonna click new parameter. It's gonna be a actor, hit actor, because we're gonna need to know what actor got hit. So you're gonna grab this on projectile hit and call it here. Right after your projectile hits, whatever it is in your blueprints that you know your projectile already hit, you should call this event dispatcher. And here we're gonna pass in hit actor. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our shooter character, and to bind this event here, we can just go search for on projectile hit, and it's gonna be this one, assign on projectile hit. Okay, you're gonna end up with this. That's the exact same thing we have here. So this is gonna trigger when you pull the trigger, when you launch the projectile, this node right here, and this node only gonna trigger when the projectile actually hits. Okay, so after that, you're gonna call your server RPC, and the server RPC is gonna be the same thing we already did. Okay, I have it ready right here. You see how it's the same structure, the same kind of nodes. It's really the same thing. But here we have different parameters that we should pass in. We have start, from where the projectile is going to spawn. Okay, we have the initial velocity, and we have hit time. So I'm passing those in right here. So my start, in my case, is get actor location. In your case, it can be like the muzzle flash of your gun, so you should input that in. Okay, so as soon as my projectile spawns, I get its velocity, and I can pass in the velocity. Initial velocity makes sense, right? So as soon as the projectile spawns, we get the velocity, then we get the initial velocity. And the hit time, we're gonna take hit time exactly how we took it here. Okay, it's the exact same way, and pass in hit time. And we're gonna pass in hit actor, which is this that we pass here on our event dispatcher. Okay, so this is it. It's simple as that. And we're gonna just use this rewind projectile, right? Rewind projectile. And this is this node right here. So it's the exact same thing we already did with the line trace, but with projectiles. So with projectiles, it's gonna work as well. I can grab my client and shoot, and it hits. Oh, I'm shooting and it's hitting my character and it's performing the rewind. Okay, so it's already working. So the same way I can just go here. Okay, if it hit, I'm gonna apply my damage, you know? Or if it hit, I can check again if it's a headshot. If it's a headshot, apply normal damage. Apply the headshot damage. If it's not a headshot, apply normal damage. Okay, so it's easy as that. After this node, again, you're gonna do whatever you were doing to set your damage, and this should only be done. The damage stuff only be done here on the server, not on client. Okay, on client we have only our prediction, which is this line trace we perform. Then we call the server, and the server is going to handle things like dealing damage. Okay, you should not deal damage here and here. You should not. Okay, it's just leave damage for server. Okay. Now we have a third example here, which is the grenade. Okay, the grenade's going to be a little bit different. Let me wire the grenade up here. So for the grenade, I have also a very simple setup. Is just going to spawn an actor grenade from my character location, and it's going to go forward like that. Okay. So what's happening here? I have the same exact setup as my projectile here. I need an event dispatcher, and I need to call this event dispatcher when grenade hits, and only when the grenade hits. Okay? Then when the grenade hits, I'm gonna trigger my server RPC the same way we did before, but right now with the origin. The origin is just where the grenade hit. Okay, that's the location where grenade hit, and we need our hit actor as well. So I have here my grenade. So I'm calling this dispatcher. I created a dispatcher the same way I did with the projectile, but I'm calling it on event destroyed because I know that when my grenade hits something, it's going to be destroyed, and that's my hit, that's my cue. So I created this event dispatcher with two arguments the same way, just create a new parameter. One's going to be a vector with origin, and one's going to be an actor called hit actor, so I can get when my grenade gets destroyed, I can perform sphere trace, okay, at the actor location, start and end. This is going to be the radius of your explosion, and you're going to take out hit, and you're going to call it here. I even forgot to do this. It's good to do that because, it's a check if it hits or not. But if it is getting destroyed, it means that it hit. So we don't really need that, but we can do that. So we call the grenade with the origin, passing the origin, and the hit actor. So when this triggers, when the grenade hits, we're gonna have those. Okay. So you can do whatever. You can do this in your code according to what your grenade does. So if your grenade does like get destroyed on impact, and it's gonna get destroyed on impact, you can do the same thing right here, no problem, and execute the server RPC. Now inside the server RPC, we're gonna do something different here. We're gonna first call this function rewind radio. You can find rewind radio here the same way. Okay, so what this function does is it only checks if the grenade hit anything. It's not a function from the rewind component, it's a function from the rewind subsystem. So you're gonna need, still gonna need a shooter, you're gonna need your origin, and the radius should be your, again, the radius of your explosion is gonna take a hit time that we passed in as well. We can require line of sight so your character doesn't get hit if he's behind a wall, for example. He's not gonna get hit by the explosion. And we have a probe radius, which is just like this, kind of like a sphere tracing to the first bone the radio hits. Okay, so a value of 80 here is okay for the majority of the situations. And to pass in the target, once you get rewind radio, you can just search for rewind subsystem. Easy as that, and pass that in, just like I did here. Okay, so here you're gonna get an array of rewind result structures, and you wanna for each loop that, okay, you're gonna loop through those results, and that's gonna give us, you know, the same result structure every node gives us. So from here we can get the origin that we need to pass in here, and this is the node that's gonna do the overlap, the sphere overlap rewind. Okay, so this node is sphere overlap, rewind sphere overlap, and it's going to be this node. Okay, it takes a shooter, it takes the origin, it takes the radius, which again is the radius of explosion, and our hit time that we can take from our server RPC. We're going to do the same way we did all the other ones. Okay, and this is we're gonna get the rewind component from hit actor. So remember, we're checking what actors were hit, and we're getting the hit actor from each one, okay, in the loop body. So the same way we did before, and we're gonna fill it in like that. Then the same way we're gonna break the result, check if it hits, and do all the damage that we need to do. So here is the result of our grenade. So let's go here to our server and shoot a grenade. You can see right there that our boxes rewind. Okay, let's shoot again. Here or here. Oh, I missed a character. Let's wait. Let's shoot from here, and we got our hit. Okay, so it's working. So that's basically it. We have another nodes here, such as rewind shotgun, that we're gonna do exactly the same thing. We have rewind projectile shotgun. So in shotgun, we're gonna have a trace start, and we're gonna have multiple ends. Of course, we're gonna have multiple pallets. Here we're gonna have a start, and we're gonna have multiple pallets with velocities. We should just pass in the velocities here, just as we passed in this velocity. For example, we spawned like the projectile, get the velocity, pass it in, but we're gonna need to pass those in as an array. Okay, so this is it. We actually, for a projectile shotgun, we can have a projectile radius here, if it is affected by gravity or not, and the max simulation time. Okay, usually 2 is a good value. So max simulation time, let's say if you have a sniper and a really long map in your game, you can crank it to 3 or 4, you know, but you're probably not going to need more than that. Your bullet's not going to fly that much anyways, in any situation. And here you can get an array of rewind result structures, just like this one right here. And you know, it's pretty much here we're gonna have an array of rewind structure of rewind result structures as well. So that's pretty much the same as we already did right here and right here. But if you still have any questions about how this plugin functions, you can just go to our Discord. The link is going to be in the description below. Okay, so just go to Discord, post your question there, and I'll do my best to answer it. Okay? Okay, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I see you in the next one.